Alright, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a re-review. I'm going to revisit some of the miners that I have showed in the past. I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons, and I'm going to tell you which one I use and which one I feel is the best one, and obviously that's the one that I use for the most part. However, each one has their own ups and downs to it. And so I've decided to sort of condense them all into one video and take a look back at some of the main miners that you can just go ahead and download and fire them on up. And they're usually pretty easy to set up, and you can start mining crypto with, for the most part, whatever PC you have. So as long as you have a video card, for the most part, you can always CPU mine if you do not have a video card. However, CPU mining is borderline useless. You make 30, 50, maybe a buck a day kind of thing, and it's just usually not really worth your time unless you have some video cards. Mind you, before I even begin, mining right now is very, very low profits. With the crypto price, everything's pretty low, difficulty's pretty high at the moment. However, there are a lot of people abandoning mining temporarily, which will lower the difficulty and get you a lot of additional shares right now. So mind you, you're still mining at approximately the same rate. And of course, difficulty does go up and down, but you're still mining at approximately the same rate. Most things are just worth less money now than they were before. So as long as you're mining and you're gaining coins now, later on, when the price of crypto doubles or goes up 75%, then so will all of your coins, and therefore all of the work that you did in the past will now be worth what it is in the future / present, if that made any sense. So the first one I want to talk about is Vertcoin one-click miner. So Vertcoin one-click miner, you can get it from GitHub here. You basically just Google Vertcoin one-click miner, pretty easy, and you download the setup. You're going to get this here. And again, I've made videos about all of these, so if you just go to my channel and you click on my videos, and then you click the little search in YouTube, and you pretty much type in any one of these, and you'll see one of some video that I've made about them in the past. I've made several videos on Vertcoin one-click miner, as well as NiceHash and Awesome Miner. I think I only made like one video on MinerGate, so that one might be a little bit harder to find, but you'll see why in just a moment here. So Vertcoin one-click miner is really, really easy to use. Once it starts up, it's pretty much exactly what it looks like. Then you need to find a pool, and you just select the NVIDIA miner, and you let her rip for the most part. So you find these pools here. I'm not really gonna. This isn't a how-to video, so if you want to figure out how to use Vertcoin one-click miner, I have videos on it. I think if you Google it, I think I'm like the top video for Vertcoin one-click miner, so it's pretty hard to miss for the most part. So when you actually select a pool here and you click start, it's going to have you download for a second. It's like a split-second download to download the specific miner that you're trying to run. If you have AMD, you're going to select AMD. However, do not select AMD. Even if you have AMD, you probably just want to avoid this coin entirely. AMD are not good at mining this coin. So this is pretty much exclusively for NVIDIA miners. CPU mining is borderline useless with Vertcoin one-click miner. So that's sort of a con, as well as the AMD. So it's exclusively for NVIDIA miners for the most part. They are working on optimizing AMD, but I don't think it's been a very long time since they said that, and I don't know if it's coming or not. And even if it does, I doubt it will be as good as NVIDIA. So when you do click start, a lot of people commented to me that their antivirus flagged it once you hit start here. Just to let you know, antiviruses love to flag miners. So this is not a virus or anything like that. It's a legitimate program. Tens of thousands of people use it, including me. Like I said, antiviruses just love to flag it because of the way they operate, and antiviruses see it and they think it's a virus operating on your computer. Just tell your antivirus to shut its mouth and, tell it to go away, and it'll work. So it'll start running, and when you click on these, on the pool that you have selected, usually they work, although I haven't actually changed a pool in a long time. Here we go. Here's one that's up. You will see your address that you put in here. So you have to essentially, when you actually go to add the pool, you add your address over here once you find one. You have to hit scan, and then you put your actual wallet address there, and it adds your wallet address as your worker. And then so you see these addresses here, and they're mining away, and it shows the predicted payout. So some pros and cons about this. Very easy to use. You know, you get a lot of Vertcoin typically. If you're really lucky, you get a lot of Vertcoin. I had one person tell me he got 3 in a day one time back when it was worth about $10 a coin at its height. So he actually made about $30 in a day with just a 1080 Ti, which is absolutely absurd, even for when crypto is at one of its highest points. He just happened to get really, really lucky that day with the shares, and so he got a ton of shares. His graphics card was just doing work that day, and it happened to be very, very lucky. So one of the cons about Vertcoin one-click miners is that oftentimes you have to run this perpetually. This is one of those kind of miners that you want to run 24/7. Do not stop Vertcoin one-click miner. So if you have a regular PC that you use on a daily basis, this isn't the miner for you, because you're going to have to stop this miner if you want to look at YouTube videos or do much on your computer, because Vertcoin typically will lag your computer quite a bit, and the Lyra 2 algorithm typically does, whereas EcoHash not so much. So it's a 24/7 miner, and what'll happen is for like 12 hours you'll receive shares, and then sometimes for 8, 10, 12 hours you'll receive nothing. And people complain about that they're not receiving anything, but really this is like a 24/7 miner. So you're supposed to mine this for weeks and weeks at a time. So if you have a dedicated miner, you know, in a back room or in a shed or something like that, this is a great program to use. But on a personal PC that you use on a daily basis, not so much. So really good program, and Vertcoin again is really easy to collect. You can collect you know, 2 or 3 a day depending on your setup, very easily without having a big massive rig. So if you do have a pretty good rig with 6 or 8 GPUs or something like that, you can get, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 a day pretty easy. And Vertcoin is really, really low in value right now, and at one point it was like $10, and now it's like $2 or $3, something like that. And so if you mine a whole bunch of these and then it goes back up to $10, then you've made yourself quite the profit. So there's Vertcoin one-click miner. That is probably it's high on my recommendation list. Very easy to use, and but just know that if you're not receiving shares for a while, it's normal. You just got to keep letting it run. It's a 24/7 kind of thing. So if you don't want to be that dedicated, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So then there's, of course, NiceHash. I think by now everybody knows NiceHash. If you go to nicehash.com, you can download the miner, and it's another that's very incredibly easy to use. So you just click on the hardware details and you benchmark. In this PC, I have these 3 graphics cards. I do have like other rigs, but I have these 3 in this. So basically you just click on this and you benchmark all of your GPUs, and then you're ready to go. And you know, you set up a wallet, and there's your wallet. That's like an internal wallet of mine, and don't worry, it doesn't have anything in it, so don't try to hack me, because it'll be a big waste of your time. So I have a balance of a whole $8.65 because I have not used NiceHash miner in quite some time. They had a hack incident where they lost $62 million in Bitcoin and really never recovered it, and they're attempting to pay people back, but they're very slow about it. However, NiceHash is extremely easy to use, and one really good thing about NiceHash is that it is a prop payout system. So it's not a PPLNS. PPLNS means that you have to mine for, you know, upwards of 24 hours before you start getting your full shares over and over and over. Just like Vertcoin one-click miner was, the one I just previously showed, and Awesome Miner and MinerGate. Most pools are PPLNS, which is basically an average share over time, and it prevents pool hopping. So a lot of times, way back in the day, people used to pool hop a lot. And so you would join one pool, start mining, and then you get a reward. You immediately leave that pool and you start mining on a different pool until you get a reward. And you could hop around like that, and it was pretty lucrative. So in order to stop that, a lot of pools came out with a PPLNS system, which is a sort of a share over time system where you need to be mining for 12/24 hours to be able to start getting your full shares. And then with PPLNS as well, is like, you know, if you're mining for 24 hours and you turn off your miner, you'll notice you're still getting shares for several hours after that, because you had a share over time system. So with NiceHash Miner, it's a prop payout. So meaning if I turn this on for a minute and then turn it off, I get a minute of worth of shares. You know, and it's not like PPLNS where I basically won't get anything for that. So this is really nice for, you know, for those who do use their mining rig or whatever you call it to on a daily basis for regular work as well. So you can leave this on overnight and then turn it off in the morning when you need to, you know, get on your computer and do some work or do whatever you want. And then, you know, in between the day when you're just doing errands or doing this, that, or the other thing, or going to work, you can turn on NiceHash Miner, and then you can feel comfortable about turning it off whenever you need to use a computer, because it's a prop payout system and you're not really losing shares. Well, you are losing shares by turning it off because you're no longer mining, but you don't have to mine for an extended period of time just to catch back up to your shares. So it's really, really useful in that regard. And they also have a system where you can just transfer, if you mine to their internal wallet, they have a system where you can just mine just a little bit. It's like 15-20 bucks worth of Bitcoin, and then send it to for free to Coinbase. However, not everybody has access to Coinbase, so in that case you might have to use an external wallet, which is where another con comes in, that you can't excuse me, you can't actually withdraw your it won't send out the Bitcoin until you mine 0.01 Bitcoin, and sometimes when the fees are very high, it's 0.1 Bitcoin. So you basically are forced to wait till 0.01 Bitcoin, which is currently at the moment about $90 some in Bitcoin. So you know, for some people that can mean mining for an entire month or several weeks before they get paid. So very easy to use, but very shady in how they hold your coins hostage. But it is not the worst miner in terms of a hostage, you know, coins. Awesome Miner is my favorite miner. So this is Awesome Miner here, and you set up a couple miners. So I have a CPU miner which mines electronium. Electronium mining is very non-profitable, so it's extremely disappointing in terms of the results. As you can see, electronium down here is only about 5 cents, and I only get honestly a few 4 or 5 electronium a day mining it, and so, you know, I'm sort of mining electronium on the side, and, you know, I have quite a bit of electronium at this point. However, it's worth extremely little. But if electronium ever goes to $1 or something like that in the future, they're working on, they already have an Android miner for cell phones, which I'll never use because it's a good way to destroy your cell phone, to be totally honest. They're working on an iOS miner, and you know, putting it on other exchanges as well, which will probably raise the price of it, so that's not too bad. But so with Awesome Miner, you actually have to set up a pool. So I have a mining pool hub set up here, and what happens when you're mining this is it mines to the mining pool hub, and then from mining pool hub you send your coins out. So you can choose your algorithm here, and you know, if you I usually have mine just on Equihash or just on Lira 2. And so you can hit the coins once you actually have those marked, and you can see which one's the most expensive coin at the moment. And Vertcoin will get the most, although I'm not mining at the moment, so it looks really, really low. So it'll show you what coin is the best, and it should be showing Equihash. There it goes. Okay, so I have to click Equihash. So yeah, Zcash right now is the highest. Just selecting those two algorithms. The problem is with Awesome Miner is that it is a PPLNS system. So Awesome Miner is sort of advertised as a profit switching miner. The problem with PPLNS, though, is that if you switch to a different pool, a different coin, you're going to start receiving different shares. So if I develop 1,000 shares worth of Equihash, and then it changes on me to Lira 2 or to NIST or something like that, or Neoscript, the problem is now I have to develop those shares from Neoscript, a different pool. And so I actually lose profit by switching. So with Awesome Miner, I feel personally I make the most when I just have Equihash or just have Lira 2. selected, rather than selecting them all and having it switch to the best one, because sometimes it switches to a coin that's 10-20 cents more, and you think to yourself, well, that's better profit, right? Because, you know, now you're mining a more expensive coin. But not really, because you just reset your shares essentially by switching to a new coin. And so why they do that, I'm not really sure. It boggles my mind. They used to be prop payout years ago, and they switched to PPLNS because people demanded so. But really, the people, it doesn't really make sense to me. So just keep if you're going to use Awesome Miner, honestly, I recommend just keeping it on one algorithm and just continuously run that algorithm. Even if it's not the most expensive coin, the most profitable coin at the time, likely Equihash always takes the first place anyway. So 90% of the time, Equihash is. So another cool thing is that you can select a bunch of pools to connect to. So I connect to Mining Pool Hub, although you can collect to Z Pool or something like other different pools. But I use Mining Pool Hub, and with Mining Pool Hub, you can auto exchange to different coins. So I can mine Equihash coins, and then it auto exchanges to Litecoin, and then I can send that Litecoin to Coinbase, and then begin trading it or selling it or do whatever I want with it. So it's my favorite miner. Again, it's one of those miners that you want to run 24/7 though. So, you know, I usually run this at night. Sometimes I'll mix it up with NiceHash a little bit. I haven't used NiceHash in a little while though, but this is a pretty good miner. But again, it's a PPLNS, so you're going to want to run it as long as possible. So moving on. MinerGate, the bane of the mining programs. Now, before I get into MinerGate, I do want to say that there are other miners out there. I have tried a few other ones, and they were absolutely awful. I think there's one called WinMiner, and when you mine on that, it just automatically converts the coins to US dollars. So, you know, if you're just mining away, really it just shows US dollars, and then you can transfer those US dollars out to PayPal or to your bank or something like that. The problem is that the profits were egregiously low for no reason, and so that I can't even recommend whatsoever. And there are other miners too, like script miners, and I don't mean script the algorithm, I just mean the standalone miners that you need to make a batch file for and connect to a pool manually, such as CC Miner and Claymore Miner, other miners like that. So, in like XMR Miner or XMR, forget even the name of it, XMR Stack. So those miners are for more advanced users. So sometimes I use those miners, but for the most part, I just like to use a program miner. It's just so much easier most of the time. The problem with those script miners is that you have to make the batch file yourself and connect to a pool, which is usually above the head of most novice users. So when you see these programs like this, they actually have those programs built in. So let me show you. So see, as you can see, SG Miner, Claymore Miner, CC Miner, Excavator, EWBF, the Q2 Zcash Miner, XMR Miner, they're all built into the program. So all these programs are actually using the miners that I just told you about, the script ones that you have to sort of make yourself and connect to pools yourself, whereas these program miners do it automatically for you. However, Awesome Miner, you do need to sort of still connect to a pool, but it's still a much easier way. And for example, NiceHash, whenever you click go and you start mining, it will automatically start using those miners for you, those built-in miners. So they essentially come with the program and automatically connect to the pools for you. So all of those miners, you use them regardless, but you can use them standalone if you choose, and you set up your own wallet, and it usually goes directly to a wallet, which seems a lot better, but oftentimes they're a little bit more complicated to use, and that's okay, but for the average user, no. MinerGate is a mining software that's honestly really, really easy to use. So let me just type in an email here and get started. And no, I do not want to start mining. Please, no. Don't crash my miner. All right. So, with MinerGate is easily the least recommended mining software possible. The reason why is because it really, really holds your coins hostage. So if you go to minergate.com / like dashboard or something like that, you can see where your coins are mining to. The only problem with MinerGate is they hold your coins hostage until you mine a certain amount before you can actually send them out. And it's usually a pretty egregious amount before they will actually allow you to send those coins out to your own wallet so that you can have your coins. And they also have extremely high fees as well. So we can show all the coins here. We can bring up more coins. So one good thing about MinerGate is that they have a lot of goofy coins, like Aeon coin, Bitcoin Gold. It's not so goofy, but it kind of is. I think where we got Dash there. What is that? Bytecoin, Phantom Coin, I think. Ethereum Classic. So they have a lot of odd coins in here. They also have Monero and such. And so, and also MinerGate has this system where you can essentially just, add different amounts of power to your CPU. So if you want to, for example, CPU mining Aeon and XMR is really good. I think maybe a couple of these other coins are as well. So let's see if we can like crunch this down or not. No, apparently they just want me to have a really hard time here showing all the coins. But so I can just choose to use a little bit of my CPU instead of just outright all of it. However, one thing you got to remember is that, for example, Bitcoin Gold mines really well. It's an equihash algorithm for, and it works really well on NVIDIA. So I can take my GPUs here and put them all the way up and start really crunching away on Bitcoin Gold. However, let's say I want to mine Aeon as well. You can't use all of your cores. So if you use all 12 of your cores, I have a six core processor, so it's really 12 threads, not 6 cores here. But either way, you can't use all of them, because if I hit 12 here and mine to the max with my CPU while I'm trying to max mine with my GPUs as well, there's not a lot of processing power for my GPUs, and I can actually watch my hash rate of my GPUs fall. But if I scale it back to 11, that hash rate of my GPUs will rise again, because I'm using too much processing power, and therefore I don't have a lot of lanes for my GPUs to work. Because regardless of the GPUs working by themselves, they still need a little bit of the processor to process some information going into the GPUs. So if you utilize all of your CPU, you'll run into a situation where you'll actually lose hash rate on your GPUs, and you'll lose more money than actually having 12 on there instead of 11. So those are a few of them. So MinerGate I recommend the least. The run I recommend the most is Awesome Miner, and then after that probably NiceHash for most people, because while NiceHash did have some problems with the hack and things like that, they did correct it fairly well, and they gave 10% back to the people, and they're going to continue to give 10% installments until they're all paid off. How long that's going to take, who knows? I know there's a lot of conspiracies going around NiceHash and things like that, but overall it works, and it works well. There's no other way to put it, really. Unfortunately, I would like to talk bad about them because of, but I only lost like $35 in coin. I did not have anything on their internal exchange. I just had it mining to an external wallet, and they went down, and I lost all of that pending Bitcoin, if you will. So it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't jacked about it or anything like that, but a lot of people lost a lot more than I did. But the reason why I recommend it second is because it's really incredibly easy to use, and again, it's prop payout. So, you go to bed, turn on your miner, and let it run all night. And if you get up in the morning and you need to use a computer, you can go ahead and turn it off and do what you need to do, and then continue it when you're doing something else. So, like, you go to the kitchen to make breakfast, you can turn it on, and you can feel safe in turning it back off and turning it on at any time, and you're gonna get the same amount per time that you're running your miner. Unlike other miners that are PPLNS systems, where if you turn off a PPLNS system after an hour, you didn't actually get the coins that you should have gotten. So let's say you're making, to make it the easiest, let's say you make $24 a day with your miner. Let's say you have enough GPUs that you're making $24 a day on a PPLNS system. So one would naturally think that if you let your miner run for an hour, you're going to make $1, right? But that's not the case with PPLNS. You'll actually make way less than $1. So with PPLNS, you need to let it run 24 hours at a time, pretty much perpetually to get that full $24 a day. Whereas NiceHash is a prop payout. So if you let it run for an hour, you'd get $1. If you let it run for 2 hours, you get $2. And even if you turn it off and then start it again. So that's why I would recommend that one second. And then third, I would recommend Vertcoin one-click miner. Vertcoin one-click miner is a little harder to use. It's a little bit more advanced than the other two, but it's a 24-hour kind of thing as well, and so that deters a lot of people because they just simply can't have their computer running. And then I would recommend MinerGate absolutely the least, because they hold your coins hostage, something awful. So you have to mine a pretty inordinate amount before you can actually send it. And a lot of people say they steal your hash power. I never really noticed that, but who knows? It could be correct. But there are a few diehard people that use MinerGate, and also MinerGate pools are pretty small as well. So a lot of times you don't really make that much in a day. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight, and I just wanted to kind of revisit some of these old miners that I've been talking about for a while, and kind of give a review and rank them in order, if you will. But as usual, I will see you guys next time.